On today's episode of the Wild Party Podcast, I have a delicious conversation with Chantal Piët, the founder of Stroop Club, the world's first and only plant-based, organic, and palm oil-free stroopwafel brand. What began as a sweet cultural bridge has grown into a values-driven food company with sustainability baked into every bite. In today's episode, we talk about Chantal's entrepreneurial journey, her deep commitment to environmental conservation, the challenges of veganizing a beloved Dutch treat, and her bold decision to walk away from big business opportunities that didn't align with her mission. We also chat about syrup, scuba diving, and a certain April Fool's joke that had me completely fooled. This is a conversation about building a delicious, purpose-driven brand that doesn't compromise. Let's get the party started. Welcome to the Wild Party Podcast, where we celebrate the visionaries behind vegan, ethical, and sustainable business. In each episode, we'll dive deep into their journeys, uncovering the why behind their mission-driven business. I'm your host, Stefanie LaHart. Tune in with me for passionate discussions about overcoming challenges, innovative marketing strategies, and the power of using business as a force for good. So whether you're an entrepreneur seeking guidance or a conscious consumer wanting to support impactful brands, join us as we explore the stories behind the businesses that are changing the world for the better. Let's get the party started. Today's guest is someone who is bringing a sweet slice of Dutch culture to the U.S. with a mission that goes way beyond dessert. Chantal Piët is the founder of Stroop Club, the world's first and only plant-based, organic, and palm-free oil stroopwafel company. Whew, that was a mouthful. It's more delicious than it sounds. And what started as a way to bridge the cultural gaps has quickly become a bold, values-driven brand rooted in sustainability, adventure, and authentic connection. Chantal, welcome to the Wild Party. I cannot wait to hear about your story because, first of all, you're in like the dessert sector, and that is just delicious. We love anything sweet and yummy and vegan. So let's dive right in there. Give me a little backstory on where you were at before you even decided I'm going to jump into running my own business. What was happening in your life?
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you for having me here. Super excited. Um, yeah, I started Stroop Club when I actually moved to the United States. So the Stroop waffles are the national coffee snack in the Netherlands, where I'm from, born and raised. Um, and 10 years ago, I moved to the United States and had no network, no job lined up, no friends, no nothing. And exactly what you say, you all love your sweets. And that's as far as I got in my knowledge about people in the United States. So I figured, well, y'all love your sugar. Might as well bring my own.
Sugar addicts for sure, myself included. I have a tremendous sweet tooth. And I will let you know, I actually had been to the Netherlands. So I, was aware that it was such a popular thing over there. And not only that, of course, they are in that big brand furniture store here, which I will not mention because I refuse to give big brands any kind of free press, but we all know who they are. But tell me, so like when you moved to the US, what were you doing? What was your work or what were you doing here?
Yeah, so in the Netherlands, I was actually a project manager and a trainer for recruitment and HR departments of bigger corporates. Very, very different. So when we moved with nothing and just figured, well, the best way to get immersed in American culture and make friends is just to start my own business. And never done that, never done it in like this new culture with new rules and everything. So it was kind of challenging, as I say. But it was a lot of fun to start off with that. And we started off at the farmers market, which was really fun, really fun.
Okay, so you come over here and you start thinking to yourself, all right, you know what? I want to start my own business, which, by the way, is very American. We are all about just, starting a business from scratch and frequently not having
Right?
any idea what we're doing. That is like American to the core. So you kind of nailed it on our culture here. But what was it then about the Stroop waffles that you were like, I think I want to bring this to, because obviously they were here in like a smaller regards, maybe even like called something else. But you even took it to on a different turn. You decided you were going to make it plant-based and sustainable and just good all the way around. So tell me what that looked like for you once you decided, I think I want to start a company based around this delicious dessert from my homeland. How did you then go about putting the pieces together to start sourcing, where you were getting your ingredients and how to make it like this truly innovative creation? Like I said, it's plant-based, it's sustainable, it uses very ethical palm oil and things like that. So how did all that come together?
So that was actually a journey as well, because we didn't start off that way. When we landed in Austin, Texas, we actually landed in an Airbnb and needed to figure out how to transform our like really traditional, authentic recipe into local available ingredients. And at that point, we didn't even use organic ingredients yet. It was all local and all like neatly sourced, but not organic and not even plant-based. Um, that came afterwards when, I don't know, I wanted to buy chicken in the grocery store and it said on the packaging that there was only 20% solution added. And I was like, only? It's like, how is there any solution added to this chicken? And with the beef, with all kinds of weird stuff. And we started reading into what the what the food business, let's say, like how it actually goes, how these systems work. And we got a little grossed out, to be honest. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be a part of that. Um, so then you go further and further and you go into the dairy industry and all these other things like, oh gosh, I cannot ethically, morally be a part of that anymore. And that's why we're like, we have to go all plant-based and cut out all butter and eggs. And it's funny because people say like, why is a vegan stroopwafel different from any other stroopwafel? And it's like, well, any baked good has butter and eggs in there, and we just cut it all out. Um, yeah, so it was a journey for us as well, and a very slow one because it's not that easy to do that with the ingredients and scaling it up and finding the way how to do it, and then having people not be scared of them either, right? Vegan or plant-based a couple of years ago for mainstream audience is still like, ugh, that can't be good, right?
It's true, and in a lot of ways, the term vegan can have some very negative connotations for some people because they don't understand it, or their first experience with the word, or maybe even people in community was not that positive, so they are very standoffish, like, ugh, that can't be me, because it's become like almost like a badge people wear, right? They don't really understand it, and then they're just like, ugh, I'm not going to call myself a vegan. But I had a very similar journey to you. So I grew up in a traditional household up until about 16 when I got introduced to PETA, which is People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. And then when I started becoming
Mm,
aware of and learned what was happening in the world, like there was this animal testing and just the horrors that went into it, I just went into my parents, like at about 16, 17, and I said, I am no longer eating meat. But I will tell you, I did spend many years, being one of those vegetarians, and I'm doing it in air quotes because I still partook in dairy and eggs, thinking that was the more humane version. And then about 10 years ago, I became more aware and educated about the true horrors of the dairy industry specifically. And I
yeah,
thought to myself, I wish all of those years I would have given up dairy first because dairy was so much more horrific.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree. But uh it's all about knowledge, right? And of course all of us have the same access to the same resources, but it's simply getting there, I guess. It's a journey for a lot of people and I don't judge. I just hope to educate a little better.
Yeah, and that's exactly the way we need to approach it. And I do think social media has been very good in that and really being able to expose and educate people to say, look, here are videos. This is exactly what happens. Like, this is not made up. This is not kind of any propaganda. This is what happens in these
Yeah.
situations. These are how these animals are treated. Are you okay with that? And that's, I literally post that all the time. I'm like, this is what happens. Are you okay with that? Like, you answer me. I'm not going to tell you. But, going back to your business thing, you're right. So you came, with a very traditional Dutch dessert, and then you were like, we need to veganize this, or I want to veganize this and make it better and sustainable. So then, how did you go through the testing process of like, to really emulate the consistency and I guess the experience of a traditional waffle, but then being able to do it in the way now that you really want it to present it as your product?
So we are very lucky with our co-packer who also has a research and development team. So we didn't have to do that just by ourselves, which is very, very, very helpful. Um, yeah, and it's the weirdest thing, but we could just simply leave out eggs, and it didn't really do that much, which was amazing. You're like, oh, you can just simply leave it out. It's not that horrible. Um, yeah, it's just for the other ingredients that we add to find them in an organic way, or to source them in like the most sustainable way with the least distances, and that is really, really hard. Like the palm oil, palm oil is a big discussion. Um, we source our palm oil from Colombia, and it's farms that were abandoned by the FARC. It's super organic, ethical, sustainable. It's local co-ops, they get a normal wage. There's no rainforest cut down for them. I stand fully behind that product. Um, but of course, if you look at the devastation of rainforests, then you get people who only look at that, whereas the yield or the harvest for ethically sourced palm oil is way better than if we would actually all go over to, for example, coconut oil or cacao oil, because if that is grown, it's going to also be grown and harvested in sensitive Amazon areas or mangrove areas where there is still mangrove now. Um, but in the Netherlands, he wanted to go over to actually 100% palm oil free, and then we had everything printed and the recipes ready and everything tasted okay. And then the cocoa oil, the cocoa fats, as you know, the cacao world is completely upside down right now, wasn't available anymore. So we have all this packaging laying in our warehouse, and we cannot make the product because the main ingredient to make it vegan, organic, and palm oil free is not available anymore. So it's like, well, fantastic. There goes another like $20,000 in product development and packaging. Oh my gosh. So yeah, it's not easy.
It's not easy,
Yeah.
but like you said before, just the education and awareness of it, at least if we're trying to move in that direction and we can, make the trade-offs to be like, okay, well, we have all organic and now we're working towards let's make sure it's all sustainably sourced palm oil. Like there's always something that we need to be maybe refining and working on and finding a better solution, but having the conversations to make sure people are aware, like this is what happens when we do this, or this is what needs to change in our systems, then we're able to make those changes and really move forward, I think, as a society to just make the world a better place for everyone, plants and animals and everything. But if we don't try to make at least one change, then nothing happens. So I really admire that you've tried to do the entire checklist. In fact, I was reading it off. It was like plant-based ingredients, all organic, fair grade cacao, that's sustainably sourced palm oil. I think I even read backyard compostable cellophane and 100%
Yeah.
post-consumer recycled cartons, right?
Yes, yes. So we have the 8 packs that have the like actual like compostable cellophane, like backyard compostable. You can just throw it in your yard basically. And all of our boxes, all of our materials are made of 100% post-consumer recycled cardboard. So there's no trees cut down for our products. We used to work with omni-degradable wrappers for the 2 packs, uh, that didn't work very well. So we're still continuously searching for like other material that we can wrap our two packs in, like the grab and go little packages. And we can still improve, it's like we still have to work on that. But I will also always call on bigger corporates as soon as like Unilever, Mars, whatever, all those like bigger corporates spitting out millions of treats per month, basically. If they would only go over to like hemp-based packaging or something, and that will become mainstream and makes it a lot easier for us and a lot more accessible. Um, but then again, it's on us, as small business owners and consumers to drive the demand and therefore drive the change, right?
Absolutely. The change starts, small and starts with the innovators, with people like you and entrepreneurs, and then it kind of moves up the scale because, of course, big business doesn't do anything that's not already proven because it is all about it's all about the revenue at that point. So, at least
Yeah.
we're at the position, on our scale where we can be like, you know what, we can do it better. We can figure out new ways, and then, hey, yeah, copy us because it is better for the earth. But you've even taken it a step beyond because you are still working on doing things like, you know what, we'll do double packed waffles so it doesn't, so you don't double the waste with everything being individually packaged because that's like
Yes.
such a pain point for me. It's like all of these things that you can buy, food products and just anything now. It's like individually wrapped everything and you're like, "Wait, that's even more plastic and more waste." Like how do we
Yeah.
get out of that whole mindset of everything has to be, wrapped in its own piece of plastic. I mean, you see it on
Yeah.
toothpicks even.
It's
Toothpicks are
crazy, isn't
individually
it?
wrapped. I'm like, that's not necessary.
No, and we go pretty far. I can tell you that this is a ridiculous story, but one of the biggest American airlines, um, they wanted us to propose or to put to put an idea in for like individually wrapped minis for their lounges. And we just simply said, you know what? For all of your lounges on our own costs, we will engrave a glass jar where we can put those minis in bulk and we'll buy you a freaking fog to take them out of there. But there is no way we would ever start packing minis individually. That goes against all of our values. So we literally said no to like a very high dollar amount deal because it's like, no, we just can't. Yeah.
Yeah, and let me tell you, I mean, I applaud you because as a business owner myself, it's really hard to turn down stuff, opportunities like that when you think of like your own bottom line. Well, I need to make money and my business needs to grow and I need to pay my employees, but should I do this ethically? It's really hard to turn down that money and then weigh it against your ethical practices. But, I know how important that is for you and your business because it's all throughout. So, what advice would you give to other founders who wanted to launch a purpose-driven food business in the US that are coming up against that? Do you have any advice for people in those circumstances?
Yeah, I think first of all is stop the greed, and that sounds easier maybe than it is. And second is, I mean, we're coming from a different culture. I think that being raised in the Netherlands, we have a different opinion on money. Um, we don't spend it if we don't have it, but also we focus on keeping our costs down. So we don't have to make that much money to pay for all of our bills or anything because we created such a lean company in costs that we can say no to that. And obviously, like, yes, we also have to turn down investors because, they look at your bottom line and think, well, if you don't do those compostable bags, it saves you almost 20 cents per product. And I'm like, yeah, but that's the entire point of the product. Um, so hold on to your values and hold on to resilience because what you do is not just, making a livelihood for yourself, but what you do is creating a vehicle for a positive message about sustainability. And that goes way beyond just ourselves making money or enriching just ourselves. And I think we all could take the responsibility of trying to be somewhat exemplary. Is that a word in English? An example for, for
Exemplary,
others, you
yes, that
know?
is the word.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah,
and
that.
you go way beyond just like, putting a message out there. I mean, you take it to action because you've actually founded a nonprofit that's based on your love of the ocean. And I read that you were even a scuba instructor, and now
Yeah.
are really an outspoken advocate for environmental responsibility. So tell me a little bit about your background in scuba and then what led you to start your nonprofit, the Caribbean Reef Guardians.
Yeah. We're a little crazy. So I've been scuba diving for a long time and all over the world. And the only thing I saw in the past decades was simply, yeah, mass mortality of corals and coral reefs and a decline of fish. And it broke my heart, but also I love being in the water, so I became a scuba instructor as well. And then working as an instructor, I was like, I can't just do this anymore. I can't just bring people to entertain because what am I showing? Like a coral skeleton? Wow, and people don't know what they're looking at. And I don't blame that, right? It's all about education. So I wanted to do something for about 2 years already, like having studied all the corals and how they live. And it's like, what can I do? What can I do? And I can't do it on my own. And then I spent half of my time on Roatan, which is an island off the coast of Honduras in the Caribbean. And I met my business partner, Paco, who was walking around with the same idea, the same feeling. We shook hands, and Caribbean Reef Guardians existed. So we promote sustainable tourism. We teach actual eco scuba diving. So you can do your open water certification, your advanced open. You can do anything with us, but it's focused on how to be an ambassador for the ocean, what you're actually looking at, like how to become a better it's just a better, more sustainable tourist. And we're doing this podcast now with me being in West Palm Beach because for 2 days we're working with the Reef Institute, which is sort of like the biggest coral genetics biobank here in the US. And they're teaching us how to build our own. So we're really gonna build a biobank to safeguard all of the super corals on land to basically keep them for future generations. And it's a super interesting project. And with Stroop Club, we sponsor, we donate, like we do coral adoption programs, which is like a corporate program where instead of a Christmas gift or a holiday gift, you give to your employees or your customers. We do the corals. So I do that from Stroop Club. I gift corals to all my relationships and nurse them, and I'm sending them pictures. It's like, yeah, you can also, in that sense, be way more sustainable. A bottle of wine only goes so far, but growing a coral to replant it on the reef to actually restore the coral reefs in the Caribbean is like a dream. It's a dream. It's a living animal. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I love that so much. And it's truly teaching people to be stewards of the earth instead of just simply stripping resources all the time. And it's funny that you mentioned the whole about, being able to dive sustainably and ethically and everything like that. In one of our previous shows, we had a guest named Rebecca Gade Zawicki who started a vegan travel business called Veggies Abroad with that
Yeah.
exact idea in mind that, you can travel and do it in a way where you're not depleting the environments or the communities that you're going to because we don't really think about it. We'll see a pretty picture on, Instagram, and then everybody wants to rush to climb Machu Picchu, but they don't think about what
Hmm.
happens when thousands and thousands of people descend on an area. And it's really been her mission to make sure, look, you can still travel, but we can do it in these other ways and travel to these other places so not everything's so overrun. And I should introduce you to her. I
Exactly.
feel like there could be some kind of, interweaving of missions there, but it's
I would
exactly what
love
you
to.
said.
Yeah, I would love to because that's also the issue we have on Roatan with all the cruise shippers. Like I understand, well, I don't understand, but I can understand from other people's perspectives there might be appeal to join a cruise ship, but what it means for our reefs And for the pollution and even the sound pollution in the ocean, it distorts everything for like the bigger creatures and their route. It's like, gosh, people. So like, yeah, give back. Give back to us, because yeah, it's not sustainable, and we're all guilty. There's reality, right? I totally understand. Like, obviously, I flew here on an airplane. I didn't take a kayak to come to West Palm Beach, so there's reality, and I understand that as well. But within that reality of 2025, I think we have multiple options that we can choose as a consumer. Um, yeah, I think that's my message to every. I always say, and my storyteller advisor said that it was an absolute ridiculous remark. I always say that like, the best thing you could do is never eat any stroopwafels whatsoever unless you can make them at home. If you can't make them at home and you want the most sustainable option with eating them, yeah, choose ours. Right? So, yeah.
Okay, but I will make you laugh because I have had other guests on this podcast say very similar things about their own products, where they were like, don't buy multiples of our products. You don't need it. Buy just what you need. And,
Yeah.
people will tell them, how could you say that? You're in business to make money. And they're literally saying, buy one, don't buy 20. But it's
Yeah.
true. It's like, you can make better choices and we don't need 20 of everything. Although I don't know, the Stroop waffles look pretty delicious, and I'm sure I could eat 20 in one sitting. Again, going back to the fact that I do have an enormous sweet tooth, which I totally own. But, with that said, I really feel like your messaging and your product and just you in general just really resonate with people because you're so honest. And in fact, the voice of Stroop Club is very bold and unapologetic. So tell me, like, how did you develop that brand personality? Was that intentional or is it just really you, Chantal? You're just out there speaking your truth and you're like, love it or leave it. I don't care. This is how I'm going to live my life.
Yeah, it's the last one. I'm unfortunately, or for, I don't know, infamous or famous for it within my community, especially in Texas. I mean, the Dutch were already very much known for being kind of rude in American eyes, but I just call it very direct without sugarcoating. But yeah, the sarcasm, the cynicism, they're like, yep, no sugarcoating. It's already in my DNA, and I'm extreme even for Dutch people. So, yeah, that boldness, that honesty, that's it is simply my voice. Like everything that's written anywhere within our company is literally my voice. It's literally me writing that. Um, so yeah, you won't hear me in any different other you don't won't hear me speaking in any other way, whether I'm having, an awesome podcast with you, Stephanie, or in a dinner with the Queen of the Netherlands where we were 2 years ago, whatever. It's like I will speak the exact same way. It's like, yeah, take it or leave it.
Well, I've been all through your Instagram, so I can tell that your message is definitely resonating with people because beyond the fact that you have a lot of followers and a ton of likes, I mean, your testimonials alone, people are telling you, it's like, yes, this is exactly what I want in my dessert products. This is exactly what I want in a business that's out there. I support you in so many ways. And I love that because, it's funny what you said about it being very Dutch. Honestly, it's kind of East Coast American too, because I grew up in Philadelphia and we can be very direct. I have been
Yeah.
called rude. I have told people, had people tell me, like, oh, like, you're just very to the point, aren't you? And I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't I be? Like, you want me to dance around everything because you're fragile? Like, what? Like, so I totally get that. And I think that's why I love you and the Dutch in general so much because I'm like, I'm exactly like you. I'm not going to sugarcoat it unless it's a stroopwafel, which I love the sugar in that. So, moving forward, then tell me, like, what is your vision for Stroop Club? Because right now it's like we can get you online. I know you're available in retailers, right?
Yeah, not so much because again, we don't spend money if we don't have it, and we've never accepted any investors' money, so it's still bootstrapping. But this year we did onboard with a big project with Compass Foods, so that's a big cater type of company like Sodexo and Canteen and all those companies providing universities and hospitals and big corporates in their like snack offices and stuff supply that. And we're onboarding with KeHE. So you will see us more in retail. Most of the retail at this moment is in Texas, Central Market and the syrup and HEB. And then a lot of the independent food specialty retail. We're in a lot of coffee shops nationwide and in Canada. And um, so yeah, we're just slowly like growing 20-30% every year, very controlled. We're three people, is me and my business partner, and then we have a fantastic lady, Tamara, working with us as well. And and that's it. That's the entire company. So we have our goals every year. We grow every year, and it has to be like sustainable, like anything, like anything else, really. We're launching a high protein stroopwafel a little later this year with fava bean protein, which is really cool. So we're trying to tap into the market of cyclists and runners a little more because they don't have a plant-based option. There's two brands very active in that market, and there's no plant-based option there available. So it's like, well, we'll give you ours.
Well, I love that because number one, I am a runner. And number two, I know exactly the brand
Yay!
you're talking about because I fell for it one time where I was like, oh, there's this waffle I can take. It'll be easy to, pack when I'm running. And then I realized that it was not vegan. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to eat this. So, yes, please
Yeah.
create that protein product. I will be partaking in it. But I did want to, before it slipped my mind again, since you've mentioned Texas quite a few times, please tell me how on earth you came about creating a Texas smoked brisket stroop waffle and what does it actually taste like?
Well, it doesn't exist. So we posted on our Facebook on the first of Facebook on yeah, Facebook also and on our
Oh,
social media
I
and
fell
April
for it.
Fools. Like this is gonna be the new flavor, y'all. It's like Texas brisket is an ode to Texas and it's high protein. And it was the joke of like everyone asking us, like, "Oh, you're vegan? Like, where do you get your protein?" And it's always the same questions. We're like, "Nah, we're just gonna make a post about that." But that was actually the forerunner, let's say, of the actual announcement of, hey, you know what? We're actually launching a real plant-based fava bean high protein stroopwafel a little later this year. So no, it doesn't exist. It's not coming either.
I can't
Sorry.
believe it. I fell for the
Sorry.
April 1st joke.
Well, it was a good one.
Totally good one. I mean, you even had the great graphic with it too. And I was like, now here's the thing. I'm not attracted to something that would be called a smoked brisket. I probably wouldn't buy that one, but I'm like, what on earth would that taste like? And why do people keep trying to replicate the taste of bacon? That sounds scary to me. So I had to ask about it, but here it is. I fell for the April 1st joke.
April.
So there you go. But
Good.
however, please don't tell me that the apple pie is a joke because that looks delicious.
No, no, it's not. That was actually the winner of a national flavor contest. Uh, and it was right, I was very surprised because the two runner-ups that were left after like all the submissions that people did were pumpkin pie, or pumpkin in general, and apple pie. And I was like, well, this is the United States. Obviously, people are going to vote for the pumpkin spice. But it didn't. So we were already ready. We basically had like the designs ready for the pumpkin spice. And then all these votes came in. And we're like, oh, okay. Well, if the audience asked for apple pie, we'll just make an apple pie one then. So that's what it became.
Well, that one, like I said, does sound delicious to me. And speaking of delicious, so you don't just have the Stroop waffles, you also make a line of syrups. How did you decide to start branching out into other products?
So the syrup was actually made because before COVID, when we were still on the farmers markets and we did a lot of corporate events and catering and wedding and dessert bars, and we were baking live. So we had the stroopwafel iron with us with the dough and the really big pot of syrup. And when you handle the syrup, it has to be hot. So it's spreadable. And most people, like literally most people, like 9.5 out of 10, I don't know where the half came from, but they will ask, like, oh, can I just get the pot of syrup? So, like, well, apparently people really want the caramel. So we liquefied that recipe and bottled it as a coffee, pancake, waffle, ice cream cocktail syrup, and it's really good. So in Dallas, there was a place that does chicken and waffles, like chicken and
Yeah.
waffles. our chicken.
Vegan chicken, yeah.
And and we've, oh my goodness, there is something about that combination with like the molasses and the vanilla and dark sugar and that chicken and oh, it's amazing. It's really, really good. But it's really good in lattes. It was actually created on the flavor profile for a latte with like a milky oat milk creamy base. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned the lattes because that's exactly what I thought of. And then I saw on your website you actually said goodbye pumpkin spice madness. Hello, Stroop waffle spiced everything. And I'm like, absolutely, that
Yes.
sounds delicious. And I would buy it just to mix it with my oat-based lattes as well because that just sounds so yummy. But when you were saying, you were surprised with people saying, oh, they just want it as a syrup. That's because Americans want to just mainline sugar. So it's like liquid form even better. I think our whole country is just like sugar addicted, which, in terms of addiction, I'm going to go as that's the better one to have. So,
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just the States. All of us. We all love everybody. Everybody loves their sugar. It's a brain thing. It's neurological. It's okay.
yeah, absolutely. So, okay, so we are able to buy this on the website, but you also do wholesale orders. So, what does that look like for customers?
If grocery stores or coffee shops or whatever, if they want to buy our product, there's distributors in their area, so they can simply reach out, send us an email, order at stroopwafels.com, or there's a bunch of platforms we work with, like Meet Mabel, Fair, all those other ones. But we also have our own wholesale platform where they can directly order with us as well.
That's awesome. I know that there's going to be so many people that are going to be listening to this show and then wondering, hey, could I actually have this in my coffee shop? And by the way, I live in West Hollywood, which is like literally the neighborhood of coffee shops. And I am going to walk into all of these shops as I go about my life and just be like, hey, do you guys carry Stroop waffles? So if you suddenly get an influx of coffee shops from West Hollywood asking for orders, you'll know it's coming from me because I'm like, I don't think I've seen this in my coffee shops, and it really should be because I'm always looking for something sweet, at a coffee shop. And every once in a while, they might have something vegan, but not always. And then I'm like, ugh, I guess I'll just
No,
have my coffee. But here
yeah.
a little stroop waffle on the way would make me a very happy girl, I would say.
I just should send you a bunch, and then you're gonna sit in the middle of that coffee shop very theatrically, opening that thing and sighing of how delicious this thing is with your coffee. And what a shame you can't buy it here. And then,
Oh, I would do it, and of course, with my phone in front of me so they could see I was filming it. Because first they'll be like, well, if you're filming it, it must be important. And secondly, I would do that because I am that kind of drama queen. But yeah, and then I would leave the wrapper on the table so people would be like, what was that? We could shoot a whole commercial. I see it in my mind. We'll have to talk about it later.
oh my gosh,
But
yes.
But you know what? This has been so much fun. And, as we are recording this, it's kind of mid-afternoon for me. So I am like, about to go in to have my coffee and a little sweet treat to get through the rest of my day. So while I'm thinking about ordering your Stroop waffles, please tell everyone listening where they can find you online because I'm not the only one that needs to make this a part of my daily coffee routine.
True that. So the website is easy. It's www.stroopclub.com. And stroop is the Dutch word for syrup or caramel. So it's Stroop, not the strip club, but the Stroop Club. I had a bunch of people hang up on me when I called them. So stroopclub.com, that's our online store. And order at stroopclub.com, or my name, Chantal at stroopclub.com, goes to me, and then I'll know how I can help you any other way. And the nonprofit, um, imagine you have a bunch of money around, and you're like, let me help someone doing something really, really good for the future of the entire Caribbean Ocean. It's Caribbean Reef Guardians. Join at Caribbean Reef Guardians, or Chantal at Caribbean Reef Guardians will be the way to reach out to us. We're an official Texas registered 501(c)(3), so all of donations are tax deductible as well.
Wow, that's so cool. And thank you so much. And also, I advise everyone to first go check out your Instagram if they're not already sold on needing to check out this product because once they watch the videos, it's kind of a no-brainer. You're going to want to try it out. I know I do. So with that said, Chantal, it has been such a pleasure to talk to you and learn about your journey. I really appreciate you sharing your story. And hopefully sometime soon in the future, we will get to meet each other in person.
I hope so. I hope so. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This was really fun.
Thanks for listening to the Wild Party Podcast. If you're an entrepreneur or professional who would like to be on this podcast, please visit boomtownmarketing.com and click on podcast. We believe that every business has the potential to change the world for good, and we want to support our community to help make the world more ethical, compassionate, and sustainable for all future generations to come. And if you're looking to build your business, no matter what level you're at now, request your free marketing consultation at boomtownmarketing.com and click Get Started.